doing another video on this Democrat mayor who has already been arrested twice, Jaziel Correa, pictured here with Senator Elizabeth Warren in 2015. He, the indicted Fall River Democrat, finally has agreed to step aside, although he still plans to continue getting paid. An article from right after his first arrest late last year talks about how the mayor, having first been elected at age 23, had, quote, all the makings of a rising star in the Democrat Party. Correa was then arrested by federal agents on charges that he stole almost $250,000 from 7 people who had invested in his startup and spent the money on adult entertainment, airfare, a dating service, designer clothes, hotels, jewelry, trips to casinos, and a Mercedes-Benz. Hours later, he pleaded not guilty to 13 counts of wire and tax fraud. Then, just last month, the mayor was charged yet again for taking cash bribes totaling $600,000. I talked in a video after that arrest about a weird incident that happened with the mayor. The mayor came in uninvited and crashed a city council meeting because he didn't like how they were talking about one of his projects. There was a video clip of that.
We observed in terms of, this was primarily related to concrete work and a couple of other pieces of the finish.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor?
Do we just allow people?
Is there a reason you're just walking on the council floor uninvited? You can go sit back down in the audience, please. Mr. Mayor, we're in the middle of a discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mayor, sit back in the audience. You have not been invited to this table for discussion.
Mr. President,
Motion to recess.
by charter.
We're in recess.
So they have been trying to remove this mayor for a while. I've done a couple videos on this. Now, Jaziel Correa finally agreeing to step aside. Report from this week saying embattled Fall River Mayor Jaziel Correa announced Tuesday he will be taking a leave of absence and he will suspend his re-election campaign. The president of City Council will take over mayoral duties, but Correa will retain his title as mayor and his $119,000 salary through the end of his term in January. Quote here reads, today's announcement provides the city of Fall River an opportunity to build on the successes and accomplishments of my administration without any distraction, Correa said. This announcement allows the voters who will take to the polls the chance to evaluate candidates on policy and platforms, not headlines. The now 27-year-old mayor spent much of the speech explaining how his administration helped Fall River's economy and gave the city financial stability. So he spent most of the speech defending himself after Correa had previously been arrested and indicted twice in the last year, facing 24 federal counts of extortion. In October of 2018, he was arrested for allegedly stealing investors' money meant for an app he developed called Snow Owl. Last month, the U.S. attorney indicted Correa again, this time over an extortion scheme. As critics sought to remove him from office, the mayor fought for months to keep his job. Just last week, the court sided with Correa when a judge denied the city council's vote to remove him from office. After Correa's first arrest, the governor had said he thought the mayor should step aside until the case was resolved. Correa continued to work, even campaigning, so when he was recalled, he was re-elected by voters on the same night. Following the latest allegations, the city council had voted in favor of appointing the council president to temporarily replace Jaziel Correa as acting mayor. A judge ruled the city charter allows the council to remove a mayor who has been convicted of a felony, but not a mayor who has only been charged with one. Another quote from Correa says, "I fully expect to lead the city on the rise once again in the future." Correa did not mention any of the charges against him and has previously denied them. Another article again notes that while Correa will not show up to work in the mayor's office on the 6th floor of the government center, he will continue to collect his $119,000 salary. When Correa finished speaking, public relations staffers quickly escorted him to his city-issued SUV. He took no questions from journalists. Still waiting to see the outcome of the charges against the mayor, but it does look like this could be already the end of his political career, which had, up until very recently, been described as very promising for the Democrats. Having covered the charges in more detail in previous videos, we can just recap a few of the key points here. As an undergraduate at Providence College, Correa was appointed to a seat on the city council in his hometown of Fall River, Massachusetts in 2013 and began attending meetings in between his political science classes. Highlighting his own experience as the founder of a tech startup, Correa made the case that he could convince young people to relocate to the city and start businesses there. At age 23, he beat out a better-funded incumbent to become the city's youngest mayor ever. Correa had previously promoted himself as the founder of a startup named Snow Owl. He's accused of using the company as his own personal ATM, stealing more than $231,000 in total, using this to pay off student loans, fund his political campaigns, and make charitable donations in his own name. Went on to use investors' money to pay off credit cards, stay at luxury hotels, and spend tens of thousands of dollars on his then-girlfriend. Then in 2015, as the company foundered, Correa announced that he would run for mayor. After winning the race, he became increasingly unresponsive to investors and software developers, the indictment says. He also allegedly filed fraudulent tax returns to conceal the scheme from the IRS. Quote, "To date, no Snow Owl investor has received any return or interest on his investment, and the business of Snow Owl is essentially worthless," prosecutors concluded. An FBI agent talked to news outlets at the time, saying, quote, "Today's arrest is a shock to many in the city, which has prided itself on a tradition of honest government, hard work, and public service. Yet its mayor was far from honest, selling out his friends and associates for his own personal gain." And a couple of more details from the second arrest of the mayor in the last year having to do with this separate extortion scheme that he was running. According to this second indictment against the mayor from last month, it says that in one instance, Correa walked into a vendor's office and simply asked for $250,000 to issue a letter. Another time, Correa was paid $75,000 in cash while sitting in the back seat of a car and promptly handed over a signed letter. Correa's former chief of staff was also indicted last month on 6 charges tied to the same extortion scheme. Authorities say the now 27-year-old also accepted cash payments and a Rolex watch from a property owner to approve permits for his commercial building. He also had his chief of staff, who also faces federal charges, give him half of her salary in return for allowing her to keep her city job, prosecutors said. It was not clear if the staffer had a lawyer representing her who could comment on the case. Again, just the latest on Jaziel Correa. finally agreeing to step aside, although his plan to continue getting paid while not doing any work as mayor. Let me know what you think about that and any other details of the case. I will continue to follow the court case against the mayor and see what the outcome of these charges will be. If you could leave a like on this video and make sure you're subscribed to the channel, that is greatly appreciated. Also, in the video description are links to my Patreon and PayPal accounts where you can support the channel directly. Thank you as well to everybody that has been sharing the videos and sharing the channel to help get the information out there. Let me know what you think. I will follow up soon.